Hello everybody and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how you can create a Contact Us form for your website using SnappyForge. So I've logged in using my Test Google account here, and what I'm going to do first is just click New Form. I'm going to give this one a name, and I'm going to turn off breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs are the little things that would appear on the top. We'll leave them on for now. I'll turn them off later. Everything else I'm going to just leave standard here, and in a couple of seconds we'll be redirected to our new form. And here we are. So here's our breadcrumb trail. Without this text here, this would be all the way to the left. In any case, what we're going to do now is drag a couple of controls out. So first thing we want to do is get someone's name, and name is just a text box. Call it your name, so whoever's coming in will understand what we're asking them to fill in. And we're going to drop another text box. I'm going to call it your email. And finally, I'm just going to give them a larger text area to fill in. I call it message. And there we go. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hide our ID column. By default, it's a label. We're just going to hide it. It doesn't really need to be there. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to change. We're going to add a placeholder to your name. I'm going to just call it in. Please enter your name. Save. Placeholder text is the text that will appear in the box before a user enters anything into it. You'll see what I mean by that in a minute. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make your name required. And we're going to give a little friendly message to remind the user to please enter their name. So now if I were to save changes and go to Add New, here's our form. Contact Us, Add. This is the breadcrumb trail. We'll turn that off in a minute. Here's the placeholder. And if I fill it in, you can see that the placeholder goes away. If I enter anything in there at all, it'll go away. If I take it out, it automatically puts the placeholder back in and validates the control. And this is the message that we gave for validation, saying it's required. So if they tried to save, it would actually tell you they cannot save this without filling it in. Next thing I'm going to do, let's quickly hide the breadcrumb trail. We don't need it there right now. Save. That's from editing the form. And now we're going to edit the controls again. I'm going to do the same thing for your email. We are going to make it. We're going to add a placeholder. That'll just appear in the box. And we're also going to make this both required and also I don't want people to just enter anything in there. I want them to enter a valid email address. So we're going to choose email from this rule list. Check it off to say yes, this is going to be it. And I already had filled this in for someone else. Must be a valid email is the text that I'm going to display when they don't fill in a valid email. And finally, we're just going to make message required as well. So let's go through this. I don't need to do anything there. I'm not going to add a placeholder to that. I am going to just say, please enter your message as the validation text that will appear when they try to save without it. So let's save the changes. We'll be taken back to our list view, which obviously we have nothing in it yet. If we click Add New, this would be the form, and this is what we're going to embed on our website later. Please enter your name, please enter your email. If I try to save, you can see that everything turns nice and red and lets them know that they need to fill it in. And if they actually enter something into it, then it can be saved. And here would be my contact information. Now, what we're going to do is we want to make this external. We want to publish this and have the form only on the website, not the list view. We don't want people to come in and see who's made contact to us before, but we just want the list view available. So we have to do two things in order to make that happen. The first thing we need to do is go into form modes. When you create a form, you have three modes by default: your list, which is what we're looking at now, your add, and your edit. Add and edit, when you drag controls in, are created automatically and maintained as it goes, as is the list. That's for another tutorial video, but in any case, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go into add, and we're just going to add a message. Because we're only publishing the add form, we don't want the edit or the view to be published. What we need to do is add a message that's going to be shown. So in this case, we just filled this in. It's the message. It's on the form mode, add. And what that's going to do is when we publish this form, I'll show you what we mean by that, it is going to allow the user to actually see the buttons. So right now I'm going to say mode add is going to be open access, which means that anybody who comes into this form and looks at the add will see the form. They will not be able to get back to the list or the edit, just add. But because these buttons by default, let me show you what I mean. Close this, go to add new. Save and cancel both go back to the list view by default. So if there's no message, you won't see these buttons. And because the list view is not allowed for open access users, anybody who comes in, they will not see these buttons. So by putting a message to display after saving the form, the save button will be available to them. Finally, what we're going to do is workflow. So something I'd like to do is running on form save. When it's saved from the add mode, I'm going to email myself. I don't need this. I don't need this. Subject, I want to say new contact form entry. And for the message, I'm just going to simply go in here and say okay, so let's talk about this for a moment. These double pound sign, double sharp sign, or double hashtags, depending on your age, represent tags in Snappy Forge. And what that's going to do is when this form out here is saved by somebody, this workflow is going to get triggered because we're telling it to run on form save from the mode add. When that happens, and when it detects that we're saving on add, it's going to send me an email. It's going to give the subject, and then it's going to give this as the content. And in this content, it's going to search for the form for the value of your name, your email, and message. And that's what these three tags are doing. So for the previous example, when I filled it in myself, your email would have been replaced with mike@deremick.com, name would be replaced with Michael Deremick, and message would have been replaced with whatever text I entered into the message field. And that's that. We're going to ignore everything else, click save, ignore that I have breakpoints running, and that's that. That's it. Now we have a fully realized form. We can share this form. Right now on this test account I only have a direct link, but if I had a paid account, I would have the widget scripts here that I could then copy and paste, or an iframe script that I could then copy and paste and embed it onto my website. If I were to log out, I can see here is my form. There's no cancel, just a save button. And if I enter my name again, I'll use my wife's name this time, and say testing, and click save. It will run. Thank you. We will get back to you shortly is the message that we entered, and that's it. That's the end of the contact form. Now, what will happen is on my end, I will get an email I'm not going to show you that right now, but I will get an email that says exactly what we said earlier. So I hope you find this useful. I know it's very important to have these on your websites these days, especially now that people are able to crawl and pull out emails and send you up for spam messages and stuff like that. And it's also very user-friendly to have a contact form on your website. I mean, people really just don't have to leave your site. They can enter a bunch of information, fill out the form. Most of the time, most modern browsers have most of their information filled in already, so you can see how easy it is. They just have to kind of type out whatever is on their mind, and boom, they send something to you, and then you get notified. You can go right back and get back to them in a reasonable amount of time, and hopefully keep that customer coming back to your site. Anyway, I hope you find this useful. If you do, please like and share, and we definitely appreciate it. Have a great day.